Hey, it's your girl Lalu, and welcome back to a brand new episode of R&B weekly-ish, monthly-ish, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're back here for another episode of R&B weekly-ish gems. And the reason why I've been away, if you don't know by now, I don't know how you don't know. You're clearly not following me, and you should have been following me if you are on this channel. Either way, this is R&B weekly gems times Lalu Blue. Let's get into this week's episode. So I'm going to do this episode a bit different. I'm going to be giving you a breakdown of the tracks on my latest music release, Bloom EP, featuring a 5-track single and a 2-part documentary with 5 real stories and 5 real people. Let's first get into the documentary and how that whole documentary came about with the lovely volunteers and the lovely Marcus Hessenberg who helped to shoot the documentary.
What does it mean
to bloom?
I definitely think I'm still on the journey.
To breathe, to get that first ray of sun.
To bloom is to just take a lesson from everything, really, and yeah, be the best person I can be on this earth.
So Bloom, the documentary, came about after I bounced around a few ideas, because originally I wanted to do a little movie visual short conversation with people, asking them what it means for them to bloom. And the way I wanted it to be was to be a sequence of, okay, I'm in a car driving with one person, we're having a conversation about bloom. We stop off, and when we get to the location, the next person that comes out is another person talking about bloom. Then we enter a store and I'm asking this person and it's another person responding. So you get how I wanted it to go into a different sequence of different locations, different people, but the conversation would just flow as if I'm having this ongoing conversation with each individual person. But you know, that requires a budget, quite a big budget, and you know, it can take up a few days to shoot something like that. And what I did was I spoke to a few people and I was like, maybe it'll be a good idea for me to, you know, get some volunteers to be on camera, because I will watch a lot of the Secret Underbelly, I think it's called. But I watch a lot of that stuff, and I was like, that would be a good way to shoot what I want for this documentary. So I spoke to a few videographers, and then I had a light bulb moment, and I was like, let me hit up my guy, Marcus Hessenberg. Now, Marcus Hessenberg, I've worked with him in the past. He did the So Right video, and working with him was just so easy. And he's always happy to bounce ideas, always happy to give you some guidance and offer his insight, and that's what makes working with him so easy. So when I brought this idea to him, he was like, I was like, hey, I kind of need a cover for this project, but I also have this bright idea of, you know, doing a documentary. And that's how it came about. We bounced ideas. Time restrictions were in place because, you know, Marcus is booked and busy. He's a good videographer, good photographer, and he's always booked, and he was getting his new studio situated. So it was like, okay, if we're going to do this, this is the time scale that I have. And I was like, you know what, the project's supposed to drop in March. Yeah, my project was supposed to drop in March. You know, spring equinox and, you know, bloom, they go hand in hand. But, you know, God had his plan, God had his plan. And yeah, so I was like, you know what, let's see the ideas that we can come up with. And he's like, we can get these volunteers in, but we don't want them to just be coming and speaking about things generic, talking about the same things that we see online, the same slogans and, you know, words that you always see all over the place. And it just kind of gets boring, and you're just like, oh, we've heard this before, it's nothing new, it's not really something groundbreaking. We want people with honest, real stories that will make you actually sit there and think, wow, you really dealt with this, and you still believe you're blossoming and blooming. Long story short, got Marcus, found a location, I secured that, put out a few posts on social media asking for volunteers, prayed and asking people to share, and lo and behold, we came up with our 5 volunteers. And when it came to shoot day, mate, it was almost smooth sailing because Marcus can attest to this. We got there on the day and there was a gym next door, and this isn't like a pure gym, or it's like a bodybuilder's gym. So we were hearing all this do 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 do, and we were just like, how are we going to record interviews where it needs to be quiet? You can just about hear a pin drop. And we were just like, oh my gosh. And on top of that, those flowers that you saw, I spent weeks before the shoot continuously super gluing them onto a fishing line, and I had them arranged nicely, lovely, beautifully. And then on the day of the shoot, what did I decide to do? What did I decide to do? Pick everything up at the same time. And then me and my brother spent ages trying to untangle, just so we can get some of them. And at the end of it, those flowers that you see end up on the chair, they weren't supposed to be in the chair. They were supposed to be hung up as well. But I just was like, you know what, let's cut what we can, and the rest will just sit on the chair and it will look beautiful. And it worked. So after that disaster almost happened, we then finally, people started to arrive, we started to shoot, and luckily the gym closed. It was like a morning session, and that was it. And we were like, hallelujah. We spent the day shooting. Marcus helped me to ask questions to get people to speak more of these personal things that they've dealt with. We just collaborated to make sure that it was a comfortable space. No one felt like they were pressured to say stuff that they didn't feel comfortable saying. And it just worked out amazing. And the documentary was shot in one day. The cover was shot right after. I'll show you the cover. This is my inspiration. This is what we created. As you can see, it's close. But as soon as I saw this image, I was like, yeah, this is what I want the cover of Bloom. So that was on my mood board. That was on my, my manifestation board. I do visual manifestation. So I saw it and I was like, that's what I want the cover to look like. So I took inspiration from her, and the hanging flowers, I took inspiration from another company that creates the pack that you can make it, but I didn't have the budget, didn't have the coins, so I had to get on job, use the tools that I had, use the small budget that I had, and then we came with Bloom, the documentary. And it has been out for a few weeks now, and the stories, we have Alegria, B, we have Saffron, we have Dami, and we have Lucy. There are 5 real stories that I want you all to go and delve into. I know this is R&B Weekly-ish gems, but this documentary is so powerful. It speaks on their experiences, their thoughts, their desires, their fears, and I think we executed it so well. And I just want to say thank you to all the people that took part in it, everyone that helped on the day, and everyone that sent their well wishes as well. Bloom, the documentary is out. Run up the documentary, please. Run up the documentary. There are a few trigger warnings, so please be mindful. I know it's really exciting stuff to hear about the documentary, but now let's get into that music, baby. Let's get into that music.